Hello and happy Friday. I have internet right now. We had a tech come out on Tuesday since I've had all these problems. And of course, he didn't find anything wrong. That's kind of the way it goes, though. And I had already told them when I scheduled the appointment that it's just Fridays. It's only Fridays around this time when the internet goes out. I mean, how does anybody not begin to believe that it's like a planned thing, it's some kind of system update thing that happens on their end? Because each time when they come out, I mean, there have been a few times they come out and find something wrong with the line or the equipment, but like the guy came out Tuesday, everything was fine. I wasn't having internet problems on Tuesday. So they're supposed to be here. I guess she scheduled it for next Friday. I told them if somebody comes, they have to come between noon and 2 o'clock on a Friday, and that they have to be prepared to stay here that whole 2 hours, because the problem might happen around noon, which is when it started happening today, or it might happen around 2 o'clock, right when the show starts, which if you've watched the last few episodes, you know that that's about the time I start having internet problems. And I told her, but if it starts close to 2, I will be able to do nothing but let the person onto the property, because usually they come, and because we have dogs, sometimes they have to look at the equipment inside the house. Sometimes they have to look at the stuff out on the side of the house, on the outside. And then the pole, there's a big power pole in the paddock where the line from the street for the service comes in. And then from that pole, it attaches to the house. So when the guy was here on Tuesday, I let him in the house. The dogs were in the backyard. He checked everything in the house. Then I put the dogs back in the house. I was going to put the dogs in the paddock. It was a nice day. But the guy told me that he would have to look at that power pole in the paddock. So I can't take chances, because, he had to bring a great big ladder to get to the top of that power pole. And that means the gate into the backyard has to be open. So I just can't take chances with having the dogs out somewhere if there are going to be gates opening and closing. Obviously, we know how to anticipate little escape artists and stuff, but somebody visiting or a maintenance person isn't going to be prepared for that. Hello, Jerry at Butler Family Farm. Hello, Dark Lord Minute. How are you? Thank you guys for being here today. And anyway, so I started having problems right around noon, like 11:55 this morning. So I messaged them and I said, you know what, this is on the early end of things, because when I've messaged them before, 5 minutes before 2 o'clock, then I can't stay while they do whatever it is they're pretending to do in the chat. I have the chat feature on the app on my phone, and it just takes forever for them. Oh, let me look into your account and check the line and whatever they do. And it just takes forever. But obviously I can't message them if there's not an internet problem happening. So it's fishy any way you look at it. But it's working right now. I'm going to count that a blessing. And I think we'll have a fun show today. This will kind of wrap up the animal sort of related stuff. So, last week we had Ian on the show, and he is a wildlife photographer. He takes other kinds of photographs too, but I know him as a wildlife photographer. When I met him, that's how I met him, is because of his wildlife photography. And then we had Kevin from All Bugs Go to Kevin. If you missed that show, it was amazing. He even gave us some hands-on demonstrations with his brown recluses and his tarantula, and then just showed us some neat little isopods toward the end. So if you have heebie-jeebies about creepy crawlies, you can watch from a distance by checking out the stream and getting to know them that way. So, and Kevin's just a great guy, very enthusiastic about what he does, very knowledgeable about what he does. So check that stream out. And then who else do we have on the show? Oh my gosh, I'm the one that does the shows and I can't even remember. Seems like we had another, duh. And we had Friends of Big Bear Valley on the show. That's going to be a highlight of the year for me, y'all. In spite of the crazy audio issues we had that day, to meet virtually at least Sandy and get to spend some time with her, because she is a precious person. She loves nature. She loves wildlife. She loves Jackie and Shadow. I am so happy to report. Here's some eagle updates. I'll probably do like a little update video once a week or so, starting next week. M15 at the Southwest Florida Eagle Cam nest. He lost his mate Harriet last year. We don't technically know what happened to her. There had been a battle for territories. She was last seen flying, in a certain direction because they have cameras on the property there and on the nest. And then no one ever saw her again. So in spite of the massive volunteer effort grid searches, no one saw her. Lots of sightings, lots of people that were calling in and saying, hey, there's an eagle in my backyard. It looks like it's hurt. Or there's an eagle on top of a building and it hasn't moved all day or whatever. None of them were Harriet. Just before she disappeared, Samson up at the Northeast Florida, the NEFL nest had disappeared. So I don't know. It's not just the Florida nests, the hurricane played a part in some of that. The territory battles and stuff, I think, were at least in part related to the hurricane, because the hurricane took out a lot of nests. And so some of the eagles thought maybe they could just go find a ready-made home and not have to start over and build a nest. And that means the same thing happened. So Harriet and M15 lost their nest too, but by cracky, a month before it was time to lay eggs, they just built a whole new nest in the same spot. Fortunately, we didn't know if that was going to happen, so we still got to watch it on camera. But then she disappeared when the eaglets were, maybe 3 or 4 weeks old. They were still little bitty babies, and M15 had to raise them by himself. So love eagles. So that's the news from I didn't get to the news from that nest. So the news from that nest is that there were several females kind of courting M15 toward the end of the season, even after the eaglets fledged. So it was up in the air. Is he going to have a new mate next year? Is it going to be one of these ones that we've been seeing around the nest? Is one of the ones we've been seeing around the nest the one that was fighting with Harriet that maybe, indirectly led to her disappearance and or passing? And Harriet was like 30 years old. That's like really, really old for a bald eagle in the wild. So she lived a wonderful life. She raised a lot of eaglets. It's just nature. I don't let myself get too obsessed with those kind of things because I know they're going to happen. I'm prepared for them to happen. But long story short, there's been a female eagle with him since the cameras went back on and the season started again. And it was just a kind of a wait and see game. Is she the one? Does she look like the one? Well, they were seen mating. They've been seen mating multiple times. They've been building the nest together. She is very young. She looks to be right about 5 years old. So likely if she lays eggs this season with M15, it will be her first eggs ever. That's exciting. And he'll be teaching her a lot. He's already teaching her a lot because initially she wasn't bringing sticks and twigs and moss and grass and stuff to the nest. She, that they have to learn that. I mean, part of it's instinct, but typically eagles or eaglets will learn that by watching their parents and other eagles in the area. So not knowing where she came from, she wasn't really helping much in the beginning, but she was seen earlier this week gathering materials to take to the nest. So he's already teaching her, and they've been seen mating. So she's the one, and her name is officially F23, which just stands for female 23, 2023. Like M15's name, he is the male from 2015. So Harriet had another partner before there were battles for territory and her partner got injured. He had to be taken to the Crow Rehabilitation for Wildlife Center down on Sanibel Island, and he was being rehabilitated for 3 months. During that 3 months, M15 was really courting Harriet, really looking to become her mate. And so she accepted him as her mate, and then Ozzy was returned. He got healed. There was a battle again because there's like no takebacks. Once she had chosen her other mate, it was almost as if Ozzy was an intruder, was an enemy to the nest. So another battle. It's believed by many of us that M15 is the one that battled that with Ozzy and ultimately led to his demise. But so they had a great run, M15 and Harriet, and he's a wonderful dad. He was significantly younger than she was. So I think he was about 5 years old when they got together back in 2015. And so now he's the one doing the teaching. He certainly earned his stripes, raising his little eaglets all by himself this year. And they both stayed healthy and successfully fledged. That's hard to do even with long-time pairs that have raised a lot of eaglets together. So a lot of things are in there. So her new official name is F23. The Southwest Florida Nest does not like to name the eagles because people tend to anthropomorphize them even more, and it's even harder to deal with some of the tragedies and losses that are bound to happen. Eggs that don't hatch, or eaglets that don't survive, or predators that come into the nest. I don't know that I have a feeling one way or the other about it, because I'm definitely attached to that nest. None of the eaglets have ever had names beyond, E14, E20, E21 for eaglets in the order in which they were hatched. And I'm still heartbroken, when something happens to them. And even if it's years later, every now and then there will be one that, over time, by observing them, the experts will know who's who. Not all of them, but sometimes, because they have a distinct marking on them somewhere, or they have a deformity on a toe or something. And so every now and then something will happen to them, a year or more after they've left the nest. Power lines are a huge problem for, I'm sure, birds in general, but eagles. I've lost count just in the last 4 or 5 years of how many eaglets and even adult eagles have flown into a power line and they've been electrocuted and they were lost. So anyway, so aside from that, I don't have a big deal about naming them or not naming them, but I'm totally fine with just having them have the designations for female or male and the year. Big Bear Valley Nest, Jackie and Shadow are already very, very busy building up their nest, getting things tidy, bringing in more sticks, and performing for us. They are some of the most amusing eagles. They get along well, but you can tell every now and then one or both of them is really irritated with the other. The stick wars can be hilarious to watch because one of them will bring in a stick and want to put it one place. The other one won't want the stick there. They'll want it in another place. And there are these hilarious battles that are called stick wars. And Jackie and Shadow are just really great at offering entertainment as they're getting their nest ready. So praying and crossing fingers for a mild winter this year so that we can get some babies in the nest again. And they do name the babies there. So those are my 2 heart nests. And that was the beginning of my animal series, I think. I may be forgetting something, but highlight of my year. Next Friday, mark your calendars. Next Friday will be my first in a series of live streams honoring law enforcement. So my first guest will be Kevin Blue. I know Kevin through Good Shepherd Rescue of Texas that Richard and I work with. He's a foster parent there too, a volunteer for the organization. And he is a former a canine police officer. So he's going to come and share some information about his journey into law enforcement and his experiences as a canine officer. And the following week, we will have, I've already got the things up. Who do I have the next week? The following week, it's, oh my goodness, who is it? I'm gonna cheat and look right quick. So I'm gonna pull up my page. I know the week after that. So the week after that is a geezer gamer brother friend of mine who was okay, so next week is Kevin Blue. Okay, the next week, the 20th, is my geezer gamer brother, JC Houston, who was a Phoenix police officer. He was a Phoenix police officer when I met him. And then he became a death investigator. I'd never heard of that. Hi, my wild home. How are you? Thanks for being here. I'd never heard of a death investigator, but he became a death investigator for Pima County out in Arizona. And again, he's going to share some stories with us. But I met him through Geezer Gamers. I met him at our first convention back in 2006. He and his police partner were both Geezer Gamer brothers of mine. But all of a sudden, I can't remember. And they were both police officers, so that's how they knew each other in real life. But I can't remember now what his name was, and I'll have to pick his brain because I think he was the creator of this really neat, almost like a puzzle um, thing. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Wef Riddles. I think that's still around, but it was it was a web based, like a game, and you would have to, figure out clues to a story or something you saw on the page to be able to advance to the next thing. It was fascinating. And so I think it was JC and his buddy that created a thing like that for us on our Geezer Gamers website. And it was just amazing, the thought and uh, planning that went into that. I don't remember how it ended. I just remember that the main character in it was Lena. So I'll have to ask him if that was him. I'm thinking that was him. If not, he may remember who it was. So he'll be on the show. And then the 27th, right now, it's in the works. A guy I went to high school with is a police supervisor for the city of Grand Prairie, Texas, which is about 45 minutes from me. And he's just making arrangements. I think they have to clear, because he's active duty law enforcement, and I think they have to clear, media appearances and interviews and things with their higher ups. So I'll just check messages. He may have sent me something already, but he said he would get that cleared because, he loves opportunities to raise awareness and help people understand what it is they do and why they're important to us. So I think I'll have him on the show on the 27th. His name is Mark Tedonio. Again, we went to high school together. And when I think of Mark, I was in an organization in high school called the Spirit Sisters. And so every year during football season, we drew names. I got to choose names because I was president of the club. And we got to just kind of baby our player. And it was care packages. We'd make them cookies, or we'd buy them some kind of football themed, ornament or something. And Mark was my spirit brother my senior year of high school. So I don't know if he'll remember that, but I sure do remember that. Nice guy, great guy. And if I'm lucky, we will still be able to get K9 Arlo, Tyler McCoy and K9 Arlo on the show. So hopefully that will happen on the 3rd of November. And then on the 10th, I have another friend of mine who is a full-time RVer. She and her husband travel the country. They've been full-time RVing now going on 2 years, I think. They sold their house in Arlington, sold all their stuff. She's got it all figured out as far as booking places to stay. And this summer, she even had a job in Lake City, Colorado, because of her background in some things. So I'll let her share more of that with you. But she's a hoot. Again, I know her from high school. Is another high school friend of mine. And I think you guys will enjoy stories of her travels because she's a great storyteller and she has wonderful stories to share with us. So that's what's going to be coming up in the next month or so. I do have Kirsten in the green room ready to come on. So today we're going to pick her brain. We're going to learn about her channel, and you guys will go away with hopefully some valuable information. If you are equine people, if you've got horses that you manage, Kirsten is the person you need to be connected to know how to manage them. And that's everything from grooming and riding and training and exercising. And I'm like, I can't even soak up all the information I've already gotten just from the handful of videos that I've watched on her channel. She has a great podcast herself, the Horse Geek podcast, I think it's called. I'll confirm that with her. And so here she comes. You ready? How are you?
Hey there, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to have you on the show. Thanks for agreeing to be my guest. Y'all, I originally had her scheduled for next Friday, but there was a change in the schedule, and I thought, let's move her up. This kind of fits in with my animal series, too, so it was perfect that you were able to get here today. So the first
thing, help to have the microphone on. Is that better sound?
It sounds okay to me. I'll let the audience say if there's a problem. And hello, Lee at First Floor Audio. Thanks for being here today. So tell us where you are geographically.
I live just north of Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
So in a little town called Eustis, Florida.
Okay.
And we are, well, you're in Texas, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
So
Dallas-Fort Worth
similar
area.
weather. We're just getting to the end of summer, which is a welcome time. But just north of Orlando, beautiful little area, rolling hills, actually for Florida, which is unusual.
Uh-huh.
Lots
Yeah,
of
I lived in Jacksonville for 4 years when I was a little girl. And I was just talking to my audience about my favorite eagle nest, the Southwest Florida Eagles in Fort Myers. So tell me about hurricanes. So you've had some hurricane activity in the last year or so.
I've lived in Florida since 2003, and I've been through, I think I lost count at number 7, and 7 hurricanes with no less than a dozen horses, which is very stressful.
Yeah.
And when I first moved to Florida, I lived down closer to West Palm Beach and then moved a little bit north to an area called Palm City. And then after we had another big hurricane where I had to evacuate everybody, I evacuated to this area and decided I would just stay. So I'm more in a central northern part of Florida where even if we get big hurricanes, I'm far away enough from the coast.
Right.
This is where a lot of people come in order to evacuate.
So are you a Disney World fan?
I am.
Okay.
I love Disney. Yes.
When we lived in Jacksonville, so Disney was new because we were in Jacksonville from 68 to 72. I don't remember when Disney World was built. I think it was new, but as I grew up, I thought how silly that our parents never took us to Disney World and we were right there in Florida. So,
no, in fact, my sister, who's an equine vet, and her good friend who fills in for her when she's gone, both of them have worked for Disney as the vets.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of interesting animals, and of course the little white ponies. And yeah, it's a great organization.
So that leads me to how I discovered you, because and maybe I've shared this with you already. I think I may have shared it with my audience. We part of our family business, in fact, the primary part of our family business is caring for people's animals on their property, and it's typically equines. We live in an area where there's a lot of land, even though we're in the city, and a lot of horse owners here. So we got a message scheduling a session 2 weeks to take care of a horse and a donkey. And so I told her, yes, we have availability. I've got you on the schedule. And then she sent back a message asking if I had ever put medicine in a horse's eye before. No, I haven't, but I can learn. So I began my journey on YouTube. That was my first step because she'd never had to do it. She was more nervous about it than I was. And I came across your video. Now, I had watched several other videos before I found yours. Nobody did it the way you did it. The way you did it worked wonderfully for me. So well that in the beginning, I would halter this boy. He's not real big, but he's taller than I am. I would halter him up and hold the lead rope with my foot. He's very gentle and responsive. So, and we've been tending to him for a long time. So again, I was comfortable with it. I certainly had to deal with some weird and gross first aid stuff with the animals here, the ducks, the horses, the dogs. So I just thought if I have knowledge, it'll be okay. So for the first maybe 7 or 8 days of the medicine, I would put him in the halter, hold the lead rope with my foot, go over him like you showed. And it got smoother and smoother each time as I did it.
Yeah.
Until it got to the point where like the last 4 or 5 days, I didn't even have to put the halter on him.
Yeah.
I had conditioned him to put his head on my shoulder and I would love on him and just lay the praise on so thick because he had his head on my shoulder. And that's what he wanted was the praise. So I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So I had him that condition that after, 8 days or so of it, he would put his head on my shoulder and he would just stand there and let me do it. So
yeah, and it's a great technique because you have both hands free.
Oh gosh, yes.
And if the horse gets scared, they just sort of, you're not in a place where you're going to get your arm ripped off.
Yeah, or knocked over. Yeah.
They just sort of lift their head up and back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. And that's how he was at first, even with the halter and the lead rope. He just wanted, because he didn't know what I was doing. It was not a natural. Thing.
started doing those videos. I call them the Horse Geeks hacks.
Okay, yeah.
Because every barn I've been at, it's stuff that we sort of pass around to each other, but there's no real books written on it. You kind of learn as you go, or you figure it out because you have a horse that you have to treat. And I thought, that's something I share all the time with all kinds of people, is just little tricks of how to do it a little safer or more gently. So you're not getting in a big argument with the horse.
Yeah.
And you're not putting yourself in an unsafe situation. And you're not dependent on a vet coming to sedate the horse, or, so many of us that are agricultural, sometimes you can't get a vet. And so you need to know what to do, and you need to know how to get your horse gentle for first aid.
Yep. Well, I learned a lot just through that one video, and have gone on to learn other things that I haven't needed yet, but I just feel like now I have a great source of information. And interestingly enough, I watched several, at least, videos, veterinarians. They were equine vets that were giving demonstrations on how to put medicine in a horse's eye. And none of them even did it that way.
No, and I've been doing this a long time. Like, I'm 25 years as a horse trainer, and you just pick up things as you go. And so that's why I called it hacks, because it's like, somebody who's really good with the computer is going to show you the shortcut.
Yes.
Going to show you the easiest way to do it. And so those are the things. I started with polo wrapping legs, or how to do a standing wrap in a quick, efficient way. And then I realized, kind of as an afterthought, I did this video on how to take a horse's temperature. And I just assume everybody knows how to take a horse's temperature. And that is got to be the #1 most popular video on my channel. It has just gone around and around and around. And like, even some people think you have to buy a special thermometer for a horse. And my age is showing, but I said to this group of kids one time, I said, well, how do you take a baby's temperature? Thinking, rectally. And they go, oh, in the ear. And I went, oh yeah, we do that now. So I think a lot of people haven't learned how to do a rectal thermometer, or they think, like, it makes me laugh if somebody goes, well, I don't have a horse thermometer, and they must be picturing something, this big. And I go, no, I don't have a horse thermometer either. Like, you just get a digital thermometer from CVS, same thing. And here's where it goes, because I think we've forgotten. That's a place you can take a temperature.
Yeah. But again, see, I haven't had to do that, knock on wood. I've been very fortunate there. And so I watched that video, and I thought, okay, see, now I'm ready. If it comes up and I ever call the vet and report symptoms, and they ask, does he have a fever, or does she have a fever, then I'll know how to do it.
If the horse isn't eating, if the horse looks sick, it's one of the first things you can tell your vet is, what's the temperature, or the pulse, or respiration, or what are the symptoms. So I did a huge number of what the Horse Geeks hacks are 5 to maybe 10-minute videos.
Right.
On something specific that we need to know if we own a horse or take care of horses. It's all that stuff that nobody teaches you.
Right.
And my videographer who is helping me has been hard to get. So I'm a little behind on keeping up with the horse hack videos. I was putting one out every week, and it slowed down a little. And if I don't get my videographer back, I go, I'm going to have to figure out how to do my own. And I've got all the equipment. I'm just still learning how to get good at it.
Okay. Well, it doesn't, the technical side of it doesn't seem to impact the effectiveness of getting the message across.
That's true.
Yes.
And so, like, on my channel on YouTube, I've been really building up that channel to help people. It's a free resource. And so I was doing the Horse Geeks hacks. Everything I give away for free starts with the title Horse Geeks.
Okay.
So under Horse Geeks, which is not the name of the channel, because I came up with that later, but I have the podcast which comes out weekly.
Right.
That's on YouTube and all kinds of different podcast platforms.
Okay.
And that's the Horse Geeks podcast. And then I did Horse Geeks Hacks, which is just stuff you need to know if you own a horse or take care of a horse. And then I started doing some classroom videos that were a little bit more training instruction, like how to get your horse to stand still if they don't know how to tie and that kind of thing. And then I do a lot of remote lessons with people through Zoom, where people send me a video link and we meet on Zoom and do a lesson through 5 or 10 or 15-minute videos. And that way I've been able to work with clients who have been all over the country.
Nice.
And so if the client is happy to share the lesson, the actual Zoom lesson where we go over the video, if they're happy to share that publicly, then I post that on the channel as well.
Nice.
So people can actually watch a real lesson.
Yeah. And that makes it more real than when it's just a regular person, just a regular horse owner.
Yeah, it's just a regular
Yeah.
horse owner,
Yeah.
regular person at all different levels, all kinds of issues. And then I just started adding, I had a horse come in for training at my place, and the owner is out of state. So I had
Ozzy?
Yeah, Ozzy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So Ozzy came in September, and the owner I'm in Florida, she lives in Alabama. So I'm having to do regular training updates for her. So I decided to put those on the channel as well.
Okay.
So if people want to see, what does it look like to have a horse in rehab training?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not as complicated or as exciting as people maybe imagine it would be.
Right.
So the theory behind what I teach is pretty complicated, and there's a lot to it. But the actual work of what I do is really meant to simplify complex concepts that we have to understand. The horse's body and mind is not simple.
Right.
So I can make it as simple as possible, but I can't make it simpler than it is.
Right.
And a lot of stuff we're learning in traditional training is almost oversimplified. And so it works a percentage of the time for a percentage of horses and people, but not reliably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've kind of answered a question that I typically ask of content creators here, but I'll ask it in case there's a different aspect to it that you haven't covered. What motivated you to start your YouTube channel?
In 2020, that was when all of my in-person work took a big nosedive because I was traveling every weekend doing clinics. I had a full barn. I had a local lesson business. And all of a sudden in 2020, that sort of crashed. And then my friend who I do most of my podcasts with, her name is Deborah Merrow. She lives in Virginia. And we've just been friends forever and helped each other back and forth. And it was when we started kind of missing seeing each other, we thought, well, let's just talk about what we talk about and record it and start a podcast. And I also realized the slice of horse training that I specialize in is very hard to find. I have a number of mentors I could count on one hand, seeking out the information I was looking for to help me with my difficult horses. Me personally, it was like if my horse had a behavioral problem, or my horse had lameness issues or ill health, or I wanted to get this young horse ready for performance, my personal journey kept leading me to question, like, I was following a lot of traditional training and I dabbled in different areas, but when it doesn't work, either the horse owner gets the blame, the rider gets the blame, or the horse gets the blame. And I had a deep curiosity of sort of like, what makes one rider good and talented, and then there's the rest of us? Or why are some horses succeeding and others aren't? What's the difference? Excuse me. And then I had a dry spot.
Oh, no.
And I have no glass of water with me, so
Oh,
bear
no.
with me a second.
Yeah, I'll be chugging mine.
There you go. So in solving problems or being curious about, like, I loved my horses, right? I didn't want to keep getting a better horse.
Right.
I wanted to know, how does this work? Right? Like, why does one training strategy work or not work? And so I got interested in working with horse rescues, because a lot of people studying training are studying Mustangs.
Uh-huh.
And I go, Mustangs aren't ridden,
Totally.
and they don't live in stalls,
Yeah.
and they don't get fed carrots. It's a
Yeah.
different, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And so I was interested in why some horses were failing and some riders were failing. Because statistically, when people buy a horse, in the first 5 years, if they get hurt or they're unsuccessful, they will get out of owning a horse.
Oh.
So those first 5 years are really critical to new horse owners. And there's not a lot of good supportive information out there for them. So that's a really long-winded answer to say I needed to put out more good information that was simple and useful for particularly people who are maybe too embarrassed to ask,
Right.
how do I do this?
Right.
Right? Or like in your situation, you're great at feeding and looking after the animals, but maybe had no experience doing eye medication or hoof
Right.
treatments or
Right.
wrapping a leg or something that you haven't had to do before.
Right.
And I love it. Like, I go to YouTube all the time when I need to learn about something I know nothing about.
Same here. Yeah. I think that's probably true for a majority of the people on YouTube. That's,
Yeah.
The first used to be, I know YouTube's been around a while, but before YouTube, you'd get online. You'd look up something on Yahoo or before Google even. And now I do sometimes just look it up online, but my first step often is there's got to be a video about this out there somewhere. And so far, I have not been disappointed, regardless of how obscure the issue is or how rare the issue is.
Yeah.
Oh, I find a video or two at least. So,
and so that was my biggest motivation behind building a channel, was trying to share kind and humane methods of things that horses in the domestic environment have to cope with.
mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not natural to it. It's natural to horses, and it's not always easy for us if we don't understand or we don't know.
Right.
And then, so I try to share everything I know. And as a horse trainer, I've had to learn about first aid and caring for horses and understanding different medications and learning a lot from vets and the farrier and the saddle fitter and the massage therapist. It's like you and the owner are always kind of pulling that together. And then through training, I think what people don't realize, because we typically think of training as something that starts in the arena and gets you to the show, or gets you on the trail, or gets you doing what you want to do. And I go, no, training is it's an interaction with the horse.
Every day.
It doesn't matter. Like, you trained that horse yourself.
Yeah.
You relax and accept the eye medication.
Right.
And so not only did you get the medication done, but you had a really positive interaction with that horse that built trust and will make it easier the next time.
Right.
Even if it's not the eye, maybe it's the ear, or maybe it's the hoof. But that's part of how we build trust.
Right.
So to me, it is part of training. How we, do these simple everyday things, getting ready for the arena,
right,
can sometimes make or break the horse's trust for the human.
Now, do you have dogs?
I am dogless.
Okay, I'm only asking because my husband and I are involved in German Shepherd rescue. I'll introduce my foster dog here in just a little bit. We have the sweetest puppy. But just a lot of what you're saying is I'm tying that into experiences I've had with people regarding like dog training. And a lot of people think of dog training that they're training to run agility courses, or they're training for canine work, or they're training, to be on America's Got Talent. And I'm thinking, no, training it's conditioning. I like to call it conditioning. Training is you teach them that they have to sit before they get their bowl of food, or, potty training, going outside. They're supposed to
Not only that, but you can use training to train calmness. So horses that are really aggressive, or horses that are really anxious and neurotic, they're going to have health issues because they're dominant in the fight-flight nervous system.
Right.
It's chronic stress.
Right.
So you can use training to help them shift into the rest and digest nervous system. That is like half of what I teach, is that everything we do with the horse can be done in a way that the horse can accept, rather than doing it to the horse or making the horse obedient. What we're looking at is gaining kind of an authentic acceptance for, okay, needles suck. None of us like needles, but we can make it, we can turn it into a needle phobia, or we can help the horse cope with something that doesn't feel great, but it's a necessary part of life.
Right. I love it.
And that's like with dogs. I don't know much about dog training, but when I watched really good dog trainers, when I watched some of Cesar Millan's work, it was like, it's not just about obedience. And people look at horses kind of like giant dogs, and they look at it like it's obedience training.
Yeah, like breaking them. That term of breaking a horse from back in the day, before many of us knew better. It just makes me sick now to think.
Yeah, and it was literally sort of breaking the spirit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. That's exactly what it was about. Yeah, dominance and breaking the spirit. And
the more evolved point of view now is to look at it like putting a horse through school. I go, it's an education. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's an education, and so everything I teach that makes me different than other trainers is I have two things that are important in the training. Number one, I call the learning frame of mind. I go, what that really means is that the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant. They're in the rest and digest nervous system. How we get a human there and how we get a horse there are different strategies. Right. But the arrival in that sense of internal safety is the number one thing I work with, because if that's not in place, you can't really learn skills.
Right. Well, and so again, connecting it to dog training. So the dog trainer that we work with, and she's worked with a lot of the Good Shepherd dogs. We met her, and then we connected her with a lot of people that used her help. And she told me when I first met with her, she said, I'll just be honest with you that most of my work is in training the human. It's not about teaching your dog tricks, because typically people contact her because of a behavior issue. Yeah. Their dog is destructive, or their dog is aggressive, or there's something unpleasant happening in the relationship. And 99 times out of 100, it's not because of the dog. The dog is just being a dog. But the human, the guardian doesn't know, doesn't have the knowledge. They don't understand where it's coming from, and they don't know how to channel energy and redirect and turn it into a positive experience. So they spend all the time being frustrated and upset, and the dog picks up on that, and then it's just a vicious cycle. And so she tells me, most of the training is for the owner. Now, there's a lot of confidence that the owners will get, she said, by teaching their dog a trick. Like, she'll come and work with them in the first day, in the first 5 minutes, she'll teach them to play dead or do something that they didn't know. And the owner then gains so much confidence to see, oh my gosh, my dog did that. Like in 5 minutes, my dog learned that. And then they begin thinking, okay, then I can teach him not to scratch on the back door, or I can teach him to sit down before I put his bowl down instead of jumping on me because he's excited about his dinner. And I feel like
Absolutely.
that's been true in my experiences with my horses and other people I know, that so much of what's missing is on the humans' part. They just don't know horses. They don't know, how does a horse process information? How does a horse respond
Yeah.
to,
So I recently started a monthly newsletter where I send out lessons to people. And this month in October, one of my clients came up with this analogy, and I just thought it was brilliant. I wrote the whole newsletter lesson about it this month. That what I teach is like the mortar that holds the skills, which are kind of the bricks,
Okay.
right? So I go, whether it's trick training or whether it's going over a jump for a horse or taking eye medication or picking up the feet, I look at all those as like bricks of skill development. So it's a learned skill.
Right.
Right? But what's holding that together is the learning frame of mind and the way the body coordinates. Those are the two main things I teach. And that's like the mortar. I go, because we can build up all these skills and then that wall just comes tumbling down at the wrong time,
Right.
under pressure.
Right.
Because in the horse business, at least, we think if we can do that training program, or if we can run our barrel pattern, or if we can do our dressage test, the side effect is that our horse becomes calm and well balanced in their movement. And I go, but you look around and you go, yeah, but nobody's getting that side effect.
Yeah. That's the, you
Right?
got it. Yeah.
So I look at my specific specialty, and I was the same way. I made my living dealing with the horses that no other trainers wanted to work with. Right? So the behavioral issues, the lame horses, the horses that were on the downside of performance. And yet the results were, these horses became more reliable. They became happier horses that were safer to ride, number one. And then understanding, like, the main difference between training dogs and training horses is that we don't ride dogs.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And even I think Cesar Millan used to talk about, if you put a weight on a dog or you have a working dog, that it's very important that you have a balanced weight. And I go, well, that's the rider for the horse. So understanding rider balance and horse balance, because we ride them, we need to understand what that physically means to our horse. So that's sort of the physical basic mortar that I work on.
Nice.
And then with the mental emotional sort of acceptance, I go, it sounds so simple to go, if your horse is scared out of its mind, it's not going to learn anything.
No. Well, the human wouldn't either. I mean,
Exactly.
we're not that different. Yeah.
No, and yet if you go around to different riding areas or arenas, you'll hear lots of instructors screaming at students, some of them pretty hard on their students. And it's like, humans will put up with that, horses will not. But anytime we're sort of telling or demoralizing a student or a horse, I go, you're not building that potential up.
Right.
You're pulling away from that potential of the individual.
Right.
And so it's still very common. It's kind of traditional in the horse world, and I'm seeing it change. Like, I'm seeing some dog training stuff change.
Yep.
And I'm really seeing horse training change. But I keep digging deeper, going, you can't biologically shortchange the nervous system.
Right.
You can't biologically work with the body in a way that's going to burn out the brakes, or burn out the accelerator, or bend the axle. Like, you would never do that to your car and expect it to perform.
Right.
But our lack of understanding about the horse's body and movement, we're doing that all the time.
Right. Right.
So
I love it.
Ozzy is one. I go, Ozzy, who I'm putting up his progress in training, the Ozzy videos on my YouTube channel. He's a horse that has a great mind, like, very confident horse, loves people. I have like zero what I would call behavioral issues. but he was jumped and jumped and jumped to the point that his hocks, I mean, they just
not even functional. Yeah.
And I'm having to just rebuild his body, but people still wanted to jump him and just keep injecting those joints and keep him going. He has a great show record. And so they wanted, and I go, that's just a systematic destruction of his body.
Yeah.
And giving him, at least if he were to go back to jumping, which could be possible, he would need a year of really rehabbing, changing his movement.
Gradual,
jump.
Yeah. Well, I know the most recent video I watched of him, which is probably the one that just went up like earlier this week, maybe. And looking at his posture, just as you were talking to him and moving around, and he just looked so tuned in, like he wanted to know what is she saying, and like he wants to do it. He wants to learn, and he wants you to see him do, which may still in part come from him being worked so much. Maybe he is just conditioned to behave, but he looked genuinely interested and curious and more than willing to listen.
And I think there's really this, I don't know if this is true with dogs, but it's very true with horses. I go, all horses break into two main categories. All of the horses I've come across that have behavioral problems have a stronger sense of self-preservation. So if their balance is not good, if they're starting to get uncomfortable in their job, they develop behavioral resistance or what we call behavioral problems early on, or get pretty extreme. And they're the horses that are just protecting their bodies from us.
Right.
Then Oz is in the other category of the horses we love that are our best horses, but we have big lameness issues because they don't complain about the stress to their body. They like humans, or they like their human, or they like their job. So even when their body's being challenged, their behavior remains manageable because they're doing the best they can. Right. But their performance deteriorates, or their soundness deteriorates.
Right.
And I go, the really difficult horses I've met, or the dangerous ones, they just didn't let their body get that far.
Right.
When they started to get uncomfortable, they let the whole world know about it.
Right. And again, protection, self-defense, and preservation. And dogs are similar. A lot of, because we do rescue work. Our equines have all been rescues too. But we do German Shepherd rescue work, and a lot of the ones that come into rescue with behavior issues, they come from an environment where there was no structure. It was very chaotic. The schedule was not consistent. There was just never. It was like you never knew which way they don't know which way is up.
Right.
And a lot of times they come from neglect and abuse, and you add all of those things together, and then they just want to stay alive. They don't want people to hurt them, and it's almost miraculous at times how much difference it can make just to bring them in then to a foster home or have a family adopt them, where the schedule is the same every day and the people that they see are the same every day. And
I really think that's one of the most beautiful things we have to learn from animals is working with rescue horses and rehab. I go, their ability to trust again and to start over. And horses have fantastic memories, but they don't have the capacity of imagination.
Right.
So until you show a horse that they could have a different experience, all they know is the memory of what happened before.
Negative. Right.
But even with that great memory, their ability to try again and to take a fresh start, or to trust a new person, like animals, they humble us with that capacity.
Yeah.
To let go of the past.
Yeah.
And just heal. Like it doesn't even come up over and over.
Yeah. You're giving me goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen any of my other live stream. So I'm a huge bald eagle lover. And I've said more times than I can count that that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from watching these bald eagles in the wild is they don't get hung up about the past. They lose mates, they lose offspring, their nest is destroyed in a hurricane, and they don't sit around and get depressed. They don't give up. They move on, they let go, they excel, they thrive in spite of it. And it does humble me. It does humble me to sit and think, why am I complaining now because it's hot outside?
Yeah.
Why am I complaining because I have something in my eye? Whatever little minimal thing that's going to be temporary. And it can be so easy to get bogged down in it and forget about all the other amazing things that are happening. And I do in raising animals. So our own, we lost our second rescue horse. She was older. She'd begun to develop a lot of just age-related problems. And she crossed over. And it was very sad, but I was with her when she left us, and I got to sing to her, and she was very peaceful at the time. And it was sort of the beginning of me, although I've been involved with animals my whole life. It was sort of the beginning of my appreciation for the fact that they're not meant to be here forever. Some of them are not even meant to be here what we might consider a long time.
Yeah.
But they teach us things while they're here, and we teach them things while they're here. And if we have the blessing of working together for whatever length of time, and then the even bigger blessing of being with them at the end and helping them cross over, oh my goodness, it's just my mind was so expanded. And that was sort of the beginning, because we lost her right after I bought my first little batch of ducklings to start my backyard flock of ducks and geese. And over the years now, I've lost ducks and geese, to predators, to injuries, to disease, or, just various health issues. And I just have learned to be thankful and grateful for the fact that I got to spend however many wonderful days with them.
Yeah.
And then there's just the one terrible moment when it all has to end. And that just ties in again to my love for animals in general, my love for nature in general, because that's exactly what I get out of it. It's just reminders of, what's really the important thing here.
Exactly.
What's
What's important.
yeah. What it should be the priority. And
what it's like when you move past survival.
Oh yeah.
How beautiful, like how much there is to learn.
Oh my goodness.
When we move past survival level, and when we help our animals move past that survival level, there's a whole world.
Oh my goodness, your mind is so open. Absolutely.
I love sharing.
Absolutely.
I have an Arabian horse that I have had since the day she was born, and she's 30 years old now. And it's been a long relationship. And I'm happy that she's healthy. She's doing good, but it's like, that's a nice, ripe old age for a horse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've always had 2 or 3 personal horses. And so she's outlived every other horse that has come and gone.
Wow.
And that horse has taught me so much. The relationship I have from 30 years with one horse. And I had her during my whole sort of professional part of my, career. And I would think I was getting the hang of things. I go out, I'm helping clients, I'm doing pretty good. I come back and she's like, no, not so much.
Watch this. Hold my beer. Yeah.
Oh, she just would humble me regularly.
Absolutely.
In the kindest way. But, I had to really step up to the plate to meet her standards. And she has been an absolute fabulous teacher, guiding me through different ideas and theories and other mentors. And it was like her final say on something was always the most accurate take.
Yeah, nice. She's your partner. Yes, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what was the first video you put up on your channel?
Oh, gosh. I started the channel. I dabbled years ago, and there might be some old videos of random stuff. I really started what I'm doing now around 2020, sometime
Okay.
in that time. And I think I started with lessons, Horse Geeks lessons, which were actual lessons, remote lessons I was doing with clients, and the hack videos. And then I started adding some classroom stuff. And then I started adding, what else did I add? Oh, the podcast I started around that time.
Okay.
So I was really just starting with the podcast and the hack videos. And then a little bit of throwing in a horse in training I had here or there, or this interesting thing, or some classroom information. So what I'm keeping up with the most are the 5 to 10 minute sort of how-to videos, whether it's
Okay.
classroom or hacks.
Okay.
Keeping up with the podcast, that's picked up a lot of popularity.
Okay.
And then I'd like to expand on some of the theory, the classroom stuff, and that, but I'm still developing some written information and course stuff that I've been working on to really put what I teach out there in a bigger way.
Okay.
So rather than just person to person, I'm trying to develop course materials. So eventually I'll have videos that support that as well. I'll have
Okay.
some written and some video materials.
Okay. Do you have a favorite video on your channel, or one of which you're most proud?
Oh my gosh, I don't even stop long enough to, like, once it's done and uploaded, I like don't even look back.
Yeah,
Like, what do I have to do for next week? What do I have to do tomorrow?
Okay.
So I was very nervous because I'm really, even though I teach for a living, I'm pretty introverted. I think a lot of animal people are natural introverts. And it made me nervous to put what I teach or share, or even put myself out there online in this bigger way. And now I'm much more at ease with it. And so just putting out regular videos every week, twice a week, it kind of helped me not be nervous about it and just
Okay.
be myself,
Yeah.
just be
Right.
authentic
Right.
and not think about it. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, done. What's next? Okay, done. What's next? So I don't really know if I have any favorites because I try not to look back. It would
Okay.
it would make me overanalyze.
Okay.
So I go, no, just keep going. You'll get better as you go.
Well, so far, all I've seen, you look very comfortable. You look very confident. Obviously, you're very knowledgeable. So my takeaway has just been that it's a wonderful resource, and you're blessing a lot of people with the information that you're sharing in your videos. So
Thank
I
you.
still
That
can't
is,
thank you enough for teaching me how to put medicine in a horse's eye. I just can't.
and
Wow.
that's like the biggest thing I wanted to do was give back to the horse industry. And I'm not afraid to talk in front of people. My biggest quandary was sort of the technical part of it.
Okay.
Like, I have the iPhone. Now I
Right.
need Evo. Now I need the microphone. Now
Right.
that doesn't work with this, or I have
Right.
to set up this to do that. And so the technical part of shifting my business from really a lot of in-person
Right.
to now having to work
Digital.
with video and
Yeah.
audio files and all of this other way of sharing information. I think that's why I don't have a favorite yet.
Okay.
And
then
what I have planned one day is to do sort of music videos with my personal horses to show what good movement looks like.
Okay.
But I go, what's more important right now is helping people, not really promoting what I can do or not do, but really sharing information
Right.
that helps people and helps horses like you're describing.
Right. Well, what you're describing is making me think of healthcare professionals I know, doctors, psychologists, who also, because of the shutdowns, went to telehealth, went to and had to, crash course how to be on camera, how to, how to make sure the lighting was right and the sound was right. And
Yes.
a lot of them have shared with me too that it was a really intimidating process, to go from you're in a room with someone face to face, you can touch each other, to being sometimes it's another country. Someone is nowhere near you geographically, but you're still tending to them or teaching them or helping, offering some sort of therapy.
Yeah, and when you're shifting from like 3D in person into either talking into a void where you don't know who you're talking to, or, share. I go, what do I share on video? It's like there's way too much potential. I don't know even where to start, but I am loving it. And I go, as I'm sort of getting the hang of the technology, I really prefer working this way. Number one, because I'm home more. I love being.
Right.
And number two, I have like you contacting me or you telling me how you even found me. I go, it just makes my heart swell up, because I go, that's the whole point, is to help people.
Yep.
And to share this information. And I just have no idea where it's going to land. I just sort of literally throw it out there and keep going and throw it out there. And
I see only big things coming for you. I want to ask now, so beyond Kirsten, the horse trainer and horse guru, I think I have in the description that you're an all-around horse guru. What do you like? What's your favorite food? Do you like to travel? Do you have a hobby? Things that maybe aren't related to.
So I'm probably a little bit obsessive compulsive, because every hobby has turned into a profession. And so
Uh-oh.
So the things I love gardening, any part of nature, gardening, landscaping. I've done flower arranging. Like, I love plants and animals.
Okay.
And it's like, that's where I recharge my batteries.
Right.
And so I find I'm very comfortable talking to anybody else that has those interests.
Okay.
Like, I can't go to a cocktail party or travel. I'm not one of those natural chit-chatty people. That would be my mother. She never met a stranger. She could talk to anybody. And I'm like, if we're not talking animals or plants, I'm a little lost. But people who love their horses, or people who love their gardens, or even like whether it's dogs or cats or birds or fish, it's like, I love all of nature, however, whether that's the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom.
Okay.
I specialize really in working with horses, but I'm interested, like even trying to get my two cats to get along, like having to think about that. Or if I bring a dog back into my life, I go, oh, that's going to kind of disrupt the ecosystem. And so the hobby is plants. I love traveling. But when I've traveled, my favorite traveling is when I'm working.
Oh, okay.
So I'm basically going horse farm to horse farm around the world.
Okay.
And we're not that different. Animal people really are kind of a unique genetic code.
Yeah.
And good-hearted people.
Well, I think because I just think it lifts the veil. I just think that when you devote even just part of your life to caring for animals, learning about animals, teaching and being open to learning from animals, it just shows you things about yourself. It shows you things about the world, and it's a lot easier to focus on what's important.
And that's like one of my missions in life, is to break down the myth of the horse whisperer. Like, I really hate the horse whispering myth, because I go, all that is a human learning to speak the language of horses or dogs, like dog whisperer, horse whisperer, whatever.
Which comes from a willingness. It comes from letting go of the ego, I think, enough that you put yourself on an equal plane. You're equals. You both have equal amounts to share and give and take. That's how I see it.
Absolutely.
I know the older I get, the more I enjoy working with animals than I do with people, because of that whole ego thing that gets in the way, I think, of meaningful relationships and long-term relationships. I think that's what's at the heart of it not working. And my animals don't have egos. I mean, I think they can be pleased with themselves, and they'll know that you're pleased with them, and they can demonstrate that I just see it sometimes that they're happy because they know I'm happy with what they're doing. But I don't think it comes from a place of ego. I don't think ego is in an animal's
well, or the way I look at it is, the main form of communication between animals is just nonverbal.
Body language, posture, absolutely.
Especially horses. And
Yeah.
so I go with horses, what we're dealing with is energy and spatial awareness
Yep.
and movement.
Yep.
And I go, that's what you're really dealing with the dogs, even though the dogs might be more verbal than
Right.
horses.
Right.
You're not looking at the verbal part of the communication. The communication, which is actually true between humans, that we pick up on energy and
Absolutely.
we pick up on personal space and spatial awareness.
Yep.
And to me, it's the only language left where you can't lie.
Right. Right.
And if you're lying to yourself, your horse is going to point out that you are lying to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your energy and that sort of spatial, I think of it like an extension of our sense of touch, that spatial awareness.
Okay.
And so, like herds of horses, like interesting fact, the barrel of a horse around their middle, that when they tried to understand the horse's sense of touch and measure it, that area of the horse measures higher than the human fingertip as far as sensitivity.
Wow.
And I find that amazing because their sense of touch is more than we can actually experience ourselves.
Wow.
We get an idea through our fingertips. But that's why, birds, fish, herds of horses can move as one unit. It's not visual.
Okay.
Like
they're that aware of where they are in relation to everyone else.
Exactly. And that sense of touch is so sensitive.
Wow.
That's part of how they communicate.
Wow.
And I think all animals are communicating non-verbally in a stronger way, where we tend to rely on words.
Right.
But we're always communicating our energy and our spatial awareness. It's just not what we pay attention to when we have words.
Right.
And with animals, that is the conversation. That is the language.
Right.
That is how you're exchanging information.
Yeah. Really. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's, I think, what feels kind of woo-woo or magical about it, but it's not magical at all. It's just a different language that doesn't involve words.
And tuning in. I'm really fascinated with ears, with animal ears, and every species now that I've worked with that has ears, has movable ears. The ears can tell you stuff before any other thing happens.
Absolutely.
So I probably learned it first from the dogs because I grew up with dogs. But then when cats joined the family, cats very, very expressive and communicate a lot with their ears. And then didn't know until I got my first horse how much the ears, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this stuff, how much their ears can tell you.
The horse's ears, basically the tip of the ear is always going to point to where the mind is focused and where the eyes are looking. And they can split that focus, right? Which is a little bit, wow, we can hardly imagine that.
I'm fascinated, yeah.
But no, many, like when I'm starting a young horse under saddle, I call it riding for the ear. If I have a horse I'm on that I don't fully trust is a safe horse, I need one ear on me. I go, that's my safety valve.
Okay.
I'm going to use a little rein aid, or I'm going to make a turn, or I'm going to stop, or I'm going to give a leg aid. But I want one of those ears going back on me as a rider. And what you're doing by just over and over requesting the horse's ear point towards you, at least one, both is good. You're basically putting blinkers on them. You're teaching them to ignore a stimulating environment and just focus on you. And I think, horses as prey animals, that's not easy for them.
Oh yeah, they have to be kind of aware other places. Yeah.
But we can teach them to focus on us, and it's all in the ears.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know one of the first places that really became important to me is when we started fostering, because I had already kind of learned about ear communication, without a better way to put it, and have been able to redirect. I mean, if I see something in the ears, if we're, say, introducing a new foster dog or having a new prospective boarder come and watch the ears, and if I can redirect quickly enough, because dogs, they're in the second, they don't have long-term memory and stuff like that, but and I can redirect and then avert a lot of catastrophes. Maybe they weren't going to be catastrophes, but it's just fascinating to me to see how much I'm not communicating with the dog necessarily, but I'm watching the dogs communicate with each other and can watch their ears. And then I have like a squeaky toy, or something else that'll make a noise, or I'll just make some sort of a sound or a noise, and it gets their attention. And then their ear is not like it was before.
Yeah. Or if I'm dealing with anxiety or aggression and it's aimed at this trigger over here to the right, if I just take the horse's ears left and away, out of sight, out of mind.
Okay,
and the tension and the anxiety come down immediately. That's redirecting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
And I've seen it with dog training, and I've seen it even with mothers with toddlers. It's like, redirect.
Yes, channeling, yes. Now, it doesn't work as well with the cats, I can tell you that right now. The cats are not quite as responsive.
But
when
it's
when they've got their...
what everybody's told is if your horse looks at something and has a reaction, to take the horse to it. And I go, well, okay, let's say you're a human who's afraid of snakes. What would you think of me if I either pushed you towards the snake or I threw the snake towards you?
Right.
Like either way, you're not going to let me anywhere near you again.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I go, so it makes no sense, but it's very traditional to think that if the horse is afraid of something, push the horse towards it.
Yeah.
And make them figure it out. And I go, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
Most people are, bailing off or trying to get control.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But I go, it's so simple. It's like redirect the attention and move away.
Right.
And instantly the horse is less reactive.
Right.
I go, it's that simple.
Yep. Yep. Well, but again, it's the humans that need the training in that. It's not the horse. It's the humans. So I would imagine even if you're not consciously aware of it, I would imagine that 95% still of what you're doing is teaching the human.
Yeah. When people ask me, like the elevator reply of what I do is I finally learned to say, I teach horse owners how to become horse trainers.
Okay.
So what I really teach is horse training.
Right.
To anyone.
Right.
So I go, that's going to involve your riding skills, your training program, your understanding of the horse, your own self-control, your own level of confidence or lack of confidence.
Correct.
How do you build that up?
Correct.
And every horse owner is sort of a horse trainer by default, just like every dog owner is a dog trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you pull somebody in to help fix the problems, there is a lot of education for the human. Absolutely.
Well, that's what I see you doing on your channel. So, I mean, I know you're training the horses, but I am learning from your channel.
Yeah.
So I'm picking up on that. It is teaching me. It's teaching me. Now, granted, I may not need some of what you're teaching. Again, I haven't had to take a temperature yet. But you're still arming me with the information I need so that when I find myself in a situation, I've got to do something for the first time, or I don't understand something that's happening, then it's teaching me. I love that.
I love it too. And I'm addicted on YouTube to there's gardening videos.
Oh, yeah.
If I have to repair something, God forbid, on my farm.
You can find anything here.
I'm going to start looking up videos first.
You can find anything here.
So I wanted to be that helpful person on the other side.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. And I'm so appreciative for you being on the show today. You were a new channel to me, so the odds are good you'll be a new channel to some of the people that follow my channel. And I know your channel's not real big yet, but I can see some great things coming. I just want to get your name out there and let people know that there's a great resource. And I like your approach because I'm not a fan of the. There are still some pretty popular horse trainers out there that are still kind of the break them in mentality.
Yeah.
And again, I know for a long time nobody knew better. I realize that. I can appreciate
Yes.
that, but I can't really justify anyone still holding on to that.
No, and if you really love your horse, like that's what kept motivating me. Because I went through lots of the harsh techniques and the different styles of
Yep.
training, and I don't judge it, but I go, if we really love our horse or love our animal, we need to keep searching for a better way. There
Right.
are better ways out
Right.
there that really strengthen the relationship, and also we don't kind of have that nagging feeling in our gut that
Yeah.
this doesn't
Oh,
feel
that
right.
feels mean. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Feels
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
yeah.
again, to put them to see them as an equal partner in the process, I think it would not allow for some of what I see some of the harsher trainers do, because those trainers they do not see the horse or the animal, they do not see them as an equal partner. They see them as a subservient. I mean, it's just, I don't
Yeah,
want to
and
get on
that's
a soapbox here, but that's part of
no,
what I appreciate about.
any kind of obedience training. I get what you're saying, because it just because we own them,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, can you really make your spouse or your kids do
Right.
everything you want?
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
a relationship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if we look at them because we own them, that they should be our slaves.
Yep.
And I go, horses are here to tell you. And I've watched some pretty impressive dogs that are
Yeah.
there to teach you.
Yeah.
That doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those animals can suffer quite
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh yeah.
But they're the ones teaching us that that doesn't work with me.
Yeah.
And if we listen to them, we have a lot to learn from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think you're right. We have to look at them like we have as much to learn from them as they have to learn from us.
Yeah. It doesn't always keep me from being frustrated in the moment. I'll admit, somebody's being ornery, somebody's getting into something that they're not supposed to be into, but there's still some level of responsibility on my part, because there are things I could have or should have done to mitigate that. Don't leave your brand new cowboy boots out for the brand new puppy to chew on. Just don't do it. Why do that and then be upset that the puppy's being a puppy? Not that has not happened, but I do have a friend that just got a puppy, and the puppy instantly chewed up a couple of pairs of shoes.
Well,
I don't know.
despite our best efforts, our spouses never do what we want.
Right. Oh,
our
God,
kids
yeah.
never do what we want.
Oh, yeah.
But you love them anyways.
Yeah. And it's not about making them do it.
Exactly.
What kind of relationship is that? How much
Right.
confidence could you have in that if it was just about forcing it? So again, I'm
needs
just
to
all of
be-
that just to, yeah.
And that's what I say with horse owners is, if you truly want a relationship with your horse, I go, then it needs to be a mutually beneficial
Absolutely.
relationship.
Absolutely.
It can't just be about you getting what you want. You have
Yeah.
to understand what your horse wants, what your horse needs, so that your horse benefits from the relationship just as much.
Yeah. And again, that's what I see in your channel. And I've watched other horse channels over the years. I've gone to lots of YouTube videos to learn things. And instantly, I'm turned off by the harsh ones or the ones it's like from the get-go, they see the horse as dumb or inferior somehow, or inherently flawed, or just out to cause trouble, or they just have such a negative perception from the moment there's the initial interaction, instead of approaching it from, let's have some fun and see how I can connect, how I can,
and
how
I go,
I can motivate.
my 30-year-old horse hammered one lesson into my head. Humans are not necessarily the superior intelligence.
Oh, yeah, I know. I can tell you that already. Yeah, I can tell you that too. Again, there's a lot animals can teach us.
Yeah.
If anyone in the chat has a question for Kirsten, you can post your questions. If not, I will have her. In fact, I think I have your channel link in the description for today's show. And go and check it out. Even if you're not a horse guardian, even if you don't have horses, again, because there's so much that animals can teach us. I just think a lot of what you teach, a lot of what you share on your channel, it's just how to be a good human, how to be a responsive, responsible, caring person. It's not about lording your power or your position over another being, and I think a lot of people can learn from that. So
Yeah.
you guys check out her channel, even if you don't have horses or you don't have horses yet. I still have a lot to learn. I've only had horses since 2013. We got our first horse here in September of 2013, a handful to be sure. He's a rescue retired racehorse. He had been racing out at Lone Star Park, 5 years old, so still very spunky and spirited and energetic. Did not know how to just be a horse. He didn't. He just had never had just a life of being a horse, and there was a big learning curve for all of us to get him to realize, okay, you're just a horse now. You hang out in the pasture. You let me.
People assume that horses coming out of the racing life, they assume, well, they've been ridden many times, so they must be rideable. And I go, horses that are coming out of us, like thoroughbred racing or quarter horse racing, it doesn't matter. The racing industry is like the military.
Yep.
And so everything is very structured.
Yep.
And it works for the horses. And when they come out of that, it's almost like somebody who was raised in the military.
Yep.
Suddenly they're thrown into Walmart in a small town and they don't know what to do. There's no structure.
Well, I was very lucky because his owner, he has a spinal condition and he had to be retired from racing. He still runs. He's very healthy and strong, but he could not withstand the rigors of training and actually racing. Every day. But his owner just let me know right away, just be prepared because there will be some adjustment to him just learning how to be a horse now. He's never been a horse. And so that was a bigger learning curve for me because he's a big thoroughbred. He's a big thoroughbred. And again, was very young and very spunky and spirited. And I had to learn some lessons really, really quickly. Fortunately, I have friends who had horses and I was able to make some phone calls, and say, oh my gosh, he just did this. What do I do? So, but now he's come a long way. He's mellowed out a lot. And he's always much less troublesome with little children. So if our grandkids are here or, other friends are coming by and they have little kids, he's very curious and he's very sweet. He doesn't test them. But when adults come sometimes, personal space. Wants to see
that's what I mean, that sensitivity to energy. Part of it is the innocence and the lack of intention that little kids and other animals, my cats will just go through my horse's legs. Very careful. My chickens used to walk right underneath them on the cross ties and very carefully make sure they didn't step on a chicken. And it's like that generosity and that reading of the energy is what I'm talking about.
Yep.
They know instantly.
Yep.
And when we have a different agenda or we have an uncertainty, an
or bad attitude,
about us, then they read that too.
And
it makes them nervous.
Yeah, I've seen it. I have seen it firsthand. So, anyway, thank you for being on the show.
You found the YouTube channel because when I started, I think I had 3 subscribers, and I'm so thrilled. It's by YouTube standards, I'm very small. I think I just hit 200 subscribers, something like that. But I go, I'm so thrilled that there are 200 people out there interested in.
Well, but just keep in mind too that there are many more that just for whatever don't subscribe.
That's true.
It's like if I think of it, and this is partly from me being a content creator and trying to understand, why do people not subscribe? And it makes me think of charities or things. You might really, really support a vast number of, nonprofit organizations or charities, but it doesn't mean you're donating to all of them. It doesn't mean that you're signing up to volunteer with all of them. Right. So it doesn't mean you don't support them or don't love the work they do or appreciate the work they do just because you're not. And so maybe I'm just saying that to make myself feel better, but I just think that a lot of people will watch videos, and I'm among them, It doesn't mean I've subscribed to your channel, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to do that. And so I try to tell people that subscriber count is not the end all be all. It's not the
end all be all, but like I looked at starting a small private group on the YouTube channel. I forget what the community.
It's okay.
But in order to start a community where I would put more instructional videos or different things that are more specific, they limit you if you don't have enough subscribers.
Right.
So I go, that's been the only sort of, I guess, disappointing part is if you don't have a lot of people watching or a lot of subscribers, they limit what you can do on the platform.
Correct.
So I go, I just built my website and I just keep going. And it's like, like I said, keep putting it out there.
Yeah. I don't know if I have heard you ask for subscribers in a video yet. I'll encourage you, if it's not something you're doing, to just
probably not.
Yeah, just very matter-of-factly say, thank you to those of you who have subscribed to help me grow my channel and get this message out there. If you haven't done that already, I'd love for you to be a bigger part of what I'm doing by subscribing. And just try it.
I'm still learning that language. You just put that beautifully.
So you may have to write it down and say it in front of the mirror a couple of times. And I wouldn't do it in every video. Like I don't even put that little graphic thing on all my videos where you see the little finger and it touches the
and
then it touches the bell. I don't do that in every video, but
no, I get so annoyed at people. If I sign up on the mailing list, they send me 8,000 sales emails. I go, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like the podcast I put out without any ads. So it's an ad-free podcast. And I go, I don't know what YouTube pops up as far as ads go, but I don't add ads to any of the stuff I do. Because you can really tell when somebody is trying to help and when somebody is trying to sell something.
Yes, absolutely.
And I go, I'm not here to sell something. I'm here to help.
Yes. But I would encourage you to try that. Pick a video, a short video, and I'll send you an email with what I just said. I'll just send you an email. Here's what I said, and you can modify it or something, because I look at channels like yours and I wonder, why is this channel not bigger? And I think it's just because not enough people have found you. And I
didn't do, I literally did everything that they tell you not to do. I made the videos too long. I made the videos too short. I didn't do any advertising. I didn't try to hit any algorithms. I'm not doing shorts. I'm just not following any of the rules. I go because I want it to be content driven. Yeah. I want it to be so useful that word of mouth starts moving it around. Yep. And so it made me really happy when you contacted me.
Well, again, and along those lines, word of mouth can even be you. It can even be you that's saying, thank you for watching the video. Thank you to those that have helped me grow my little family already by subscribing. It can be that simple. So yeah, I'll replay this video to put together something that, however I said it, and I'll email it to you, and just you can give it a try. Okay. And if it doesn't work, you're no worse off than you were before.
Exactly.
It's not like it takes you back a step if you say it and then it doesn't really bring results. But sometimes you have to just plant the little seed, and then they'll think on it, and then they'll come back and watch another video and think, you know what? Yeah, this is the 4th time I've gone to her channel now to learn something that I needed to know. The least I can do is show my appreciation by subscribing.
Yeah, subscribing, thumbs up, comments. Apparently, all of that stuff helps the algorithm.
YouTube machine loves that stuff. Yes.
Yes, and I go, and I just still feel, so you can email me what you said, because that was beautifully said, and I always feel like suddenly cheesy when I try to say something.
Well, I would never have done it in the beginning. In the beginning, I didn't even want my face in the videos. I just wanted it to be about the animal care and the rescue work we do. And I didn't want my face in the videos. And then I began to realize, the channels that I enjoy the most, the channels I feel most connected to, it's because over time I feel like I get to know the person. The person behind it. That's the whole point of my interviews that I do on this show, is so people can know the person behind the content on their channel. There's more to that person than just what they're teaching or sharing or showing on their channel. And I want people to connect with that, because I just feel like if people feel like they know you and they like you, then they're going to want to support you and follow you and, do all the YouTube things that YouTube is looking for. So again,
That's
I'm
beautiful.
thrilled that you're on the channel, because to me, this is now a connection I've made. You've already had a great impact on my life and my work with the equines in my life. So
That's so good to hear.
I'm going to be sharing you out every chance I get. And after you leave, I'm going to go over, I just call it channel stats for our channel members and then previous guests on the show. I always update my viewers on what is their subscriber count. If I know somebody needs watch hours, and I'll put a little shout out for that. So you're forever going to be on my little spreadsheet. So we'll be watching your subscriber count go up.
Well, thank you, Kat. That's
right.
so kind. Like, I love your channel. I really admire what you're doing and pulling together so many different types of people related to animals and agriculture. Like, when I kind of looked through your playlist, because when you sent me, can you be on my show? I'm like, sure, but what do you do?
Who are you? Yeah. So again, if you missed it, next week starts my law enforcement. So I'm branching out and trying some new things. The things that I'm passionate about, I like to share with. The first guest will be a former canine officer. So I thought that's a nice crossover from my animal themed shows that have been going on to then switching over just to show support and appreciation for law enforcement. So the first one will be a canine officer, and then just a couple of former and active duty police officers.
Nice.
Just again, raising awareness and sharing what's important to me with the people that visit my channel. So,
and I think that's so important. I don't think we can support police and military enough for what they do for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's easy.
I have to admit my obsession with 2 dog breeds that I'm forever looking up TikTok videos and YouTube videos is always on Malinois and Border Collies.
Oh, 2 of the smartest dogs on the planet.
Yeah, and the Malinois involved in the military training are phenomenal.
Absolutely. Again, and the canines, the police canines. A lot of people instantly think German Shepherd, but there are a lot of Malinois canine officers out there.
German Shepherds and Malinois, and even some of the Rottweilers with the police canine. It was really interesting.
Before you go, I'm going to show you this little foster puppy we have. So you guys can see this foster puppy here.
Because you want him to move to Florida, I think. Oh,
hi.
Oh, what a beautiful.
This is Posey. Hi, girl. Say hi.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, Kristen. Hi, Kirsten.
How old?
She's 3 months old.
That is a big 3 months.
Yeah. These German Shepherd dogs grow fast.
I love German Shepherds. Yeah, I love all the Shepherd, Collie, Terrier kind of breeds that are, I guess, because they're working dogs.
Yes. Well, I grew up with them. My dad was military police in the Air Force and had a German Shepherd partner. So that's all we ever had growing up. So I'm very partial to German Shepherds, but we board dogs here. So we get to experience all different breeds and ages and sizes. And that's just been a blessing. I'm just living my dreams right now to be doing all this animal work. So again, I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
You're welcome to hang out in the chat or hang out in the green room. But I'll take you off screen and I'll pull up my little spreadsheet and we'll talk about subscriber counts for, again, previous guests on the show and some of our channel members. And maybe we'll schedule a follow-up video sometime next year. We'll see where you are. And
it has been a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
You're a real chick. I was
so tickled when you said you would be on the show because I'm just so impressed with the channle that I felt like, oh, she won't have time for me. But yeah, so I'm so honored that you're here. And I'll send you an email. Again, I'll put together a little blurb that
and if you have any horse questions, send them because I'm always looking for content ideas.
Yes, you guys can help with that too. Sometimes. Okay, yeah, I'm sure I could come up with something. Oh my gosh, yeah. All right, thank you so much. Have a good day there. Be safe. I'm sure Mother Nature still has some storms brewing out there somewhere. So
hopefully we're good.
Oh my goodness, yes. Thank you again for what you do, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I had fun with that. It motivates me to go out and I don't know, work with Cabo and Delilah a little bit more. I didn't think to ask her about mules. If I feel like Delilah is a whole lot more cooperative than Cabo is most of the time. But let's pull up the spreadsheet and go over channel stats right quick before I turn you guys loose for today. Thank you again for everyone that's watching as we're live. Thank you to anyone who's part of the rewatch crew after the show ends today. But let me pull up the screen. And here we go. So our friends Nina and Boyce, Texas neighbors of ours, haven't met them yet, at Rooted in Texas, are at 889 subscribers today. Ordered Steps holding on to that 1,320 something. My friend Akashi Chris at Mind Forked is at 485. My friend Joe Hupp in Australia is at 340. Jesse and Lisa, some more Texas neighbors of ours, at Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa, are at 1,630. Jerry Butler, who was in the chat earlier today, I'm not sure if he's still here today. He and Susan are at 1,980 something. That's a nice little 40 something subscriber jump from last week. My friend David Hunt is at 653. Again, if you haven't gone to spend some time at David's channel and be ministered to by the amazing music he shares, please check that out. And then previous guests on the Roundup, my friend Lee from across the pond at First Floor Audio, he was in the chat a little while ago too. Not sure if he's still here. He is holding on to his 1,240 something subscribers. Again, another opportunity. Lee doesn't necessarily mean to minister to people through his music, but music is very therapeutic and healing to me. So it is very much a almost spiritual kind of experience. That's, my own music, singing, playing piano. It's very, there's almost a medicinal quality to it for me. So check out Lee, hang out in a live stream, and just go along for the ride. He writes a lot of his own music. He does sometimes do some covers that you'll be familiar with. It's always a good time, and he's just an amazing musician. Please check that out. My friend Adam Sky, also from across the pond, is at 359 today. Kevin at All Bugs Go to Kevin. That was my guest a couple of weeks ago. You guys can check out that live stream. There was some neat demos at the end of that. Any of you like brown recluse phobics out there, and I'm not, I know what to respect and not fiddle with. So I, even as comfortable as I am with spiders, would likely not be interacting with brown recluses like Kevin does. But that's because I don't have the level of education and knowledge and experience that he does with them. But he did even interact with and handle his brown recluse spiders for us that day. He is at 419 today. Thank you to those who have gone to his channel to subscribe to help spread the information and education he is sharing about the wonders of insects and arachnids and arthropods in general. My friends Jeff and Lorena, some more Texas neighbors of ours at Back to Country, are at 801 today. My friend Amanda at Bare Bones Living is at 842. My friend Brian at Bearded Eagle holding on to that 1,350 something subscribers. Ashley, my friend at CNC Farm, is at 2,210. I do think she still needs watch hours, so I'm going to leave that little message there until I hear otherwise. So she's long had her required number of subscribers to become monetized, but she does still need some watch hours. So just go run a playlist for her when you can. My friend Tiffany at Canadian Family Life, check out this jump she made in the last week. She's at 1,790 something today. My friend Heather at Come Hither with Heather in Australia is at 1,060 something. My friend Danielle at Danny Days Ahead is holding on to her 1,090 something subscribers. Dawn Ray B, my friend, I think she's in Virginia. Is that right? I have to go back now and look. She's at 567 subscribers today. Brittany and Big K, my friends at Flannel Hill Farm, are at 301 today. They have new puppies they are raising and training also, so you can get some puppy fix there by hanging out at their channel. Friends of Big Bear Valley, FOBBV Cam here on YouTube. Again, this is one of my heart nests. They're doing amazing work at raising awareness for nature and ecology and preserving wildlife and habitats. And it's Jackie and Shadow's channel. And I'm telling you, they're a hoot to watch. They're beautiful animals. They're super smart. They're very loving and very diligent in their work. They are amazing parents. They are amazing partners. Please check them out and show them some love. They are still at that 216,000 something subscriber level. My friends Jen and Steve at Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve are holding on to 1,060 something subscribers. My friend John at Home Bartending with John is still at 400 today. Kirsten Nelsen, our guest on the show today, is at 209. So I will be counting on sharing with you that number has grown when I give you her update next week. My friend Peter Tragos at Lawyer You Know is at 278,000 something subscribers today. Again, he is just consistently picking up a couple of thousand subscribers a week, adding more and more crazy, wacky cases to the legal stuff he's covering for us. I cannot even keep up. So, and he puts out so many live streams. He's a full-time attorney, but he is there for his viewers. So you will find something that you will learn from and enjoy, even if it's in a bizarre way because of the crazy nature of the case itself. And he's a great teacher, great guy. Check him out. 278 something thousand subscribers this morning. My friend Katie at Mayfield Ranch is at 1,260 something. Millionaire Paul at Millionaire Paul, the Millionaire Challenge in the UK is at 317. My friend Tammy at Mountain Grandma is at 915. I hope you guys remembered to stop by her channel and wish her a belated happy birthday. Her birthday was last Thursday. My friend Tiffany at Mud and Mascara Homestead is at 564. My friend Nick at Multi-Hunter 24/7, another Texas neighbor of ours, a couple of hours to the west, is holding on to his 1,080 something subscribers. My friend Ginger at Not For Nothing Homestead on the East Coast is at 1,070 something subscribers today. My friends Ryan and Devin, Texas neighbors at Our New Land. The new land is in Oklahoma, though. They are still at 5,290 something today. My friend Nancy at Our Treasured Home is at 1,050 something today. My friend Marin at Palma Pioneer Pantry is at 295 today. My friend Stephen at Pawpaw's Kitchen is at 329. I haven't seen that video go up that he said he was going to try to share, so I will keep you posted on whether or not we see any new uploads to his channel. My friend Shane at Paralife TV, your everyday wheelchair ninja, is at 2,140 something today. Again, just like animals have taught me so much about what's really important and have allowed me to get over myself, so to speak, that's what Shane does. Shane really has challenges that most of us will never face. Thank goodness for that. And he does them with grace and a smile and a level of generosity to share with people and motivate people that you will not see on every YouTube channel. So please check that out and be a part of what he's doing there. My friend John at Pedroza Travel is at 1,060 something subscribers today. My friend Vicki Lund at Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund is holding on to her 1,030 something subscribers today. Wes and Jess at Rich New Design are at 597 today. My friends Ronnie and Brittany at RB Story, at Ronnie and Brittany RB Story in California are at 785 today. My friend David at Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion, obviously another Texas neighbor of mine, is at 3,120 something today. My friend Shannon at Shanster Travels is at 1,870 today. My friend Sparrow Spalding is at 1,510 plus, so something between 10 and 20. My friends Kenny and Debbie at The Adventures of Kenny and Debbie are at 796. My friend Angela at The Inquisitive Farm Wife is at 2,120 something. My friend Dino at The Late Late Horror Show is at 117,000 something. My friend Tom Salta, still growing. He's at 2,940 something today. John and Sarah, my friends at Two Doves Bees and Gardens, are holding on to their 1,760 something. My friends, the Vineyard Chicks, are at 4,680 something still today. My friend Ralph at Webb's Web is at 1,040 something. My friend Robin at What the Flock is at 592. And then finishing off our list, Steve Robson at Wild Macro Art he's still got his 24 subscribers. You guys still go and check that channel out. There's some neat stuff to see. And again, you can observe and learn about some creepy crawlies that sometimes give people, heebie-jeebies, but you can do it from a safe distance through your computer screen. And he really does a great job of just showing you how beautiful and intricately designed some of the less favorite creatures on the planet are. Hey, David, no worries. Thanks for being here today. So I will have some Posey videos going up. I did capture the introduction to our pack when she arrived yesterday. It went beautifully. I had my squirt bottle and my squeaky toy ready in case for some strange reason one of the big dogs wanted to be rough with her, but they didn't. I don't know when I'm going to just really give them some credit for knowing what's going on, but better to err on the side of caution. And since she's so young and little, I just wanted to be prepared. So aside from Serena, barking at the person, the human that brought her, she did great even. So I'll have some videos going up about her. She has not been listed for adoption yet. She is due her final boosters, her final vaccination boosters on the 17th. And I think that's when she's going to be ready for adoption. So I'm not sure where I'm going to take her yet to get her shots, but we'll get her all of her vetting done, and then she will be ready for a forever home. And she's just, golly, she's as precious, she's as sweet as she looks. So if you missed me bringing her onto the camera to show you, you're going to have to run it back and get a peek at her. But you'll see her in some videos that are going to be coming up. What else is happening here? It was 63 degrees when I got up this morning. I'll take it. I don't have the air conditioners on right now, so I've got some fans running. When I checked the weather app on my phone just before the show, the temp showed to be 85, but inside with the fans going, it's very comfortable. And I'm so ready for that. I'm so ready to be able to just open the windows and not run the air conditioners. We got a good bit of rain 2 nights ago, desperately needed rain. Jerry says it was 48 where he is this morning. Yeah, so I don't know when it's going to finally get that cool here. Oh, yeah, Jerry, I'll respond to your email. I did get your email, so I will let you know. I'll let you know what'll work, and I'll send you the address, and I will be very excited to meet you live and in person. Jerry's going out to Pinecone Fest in East Texas, and I had thought I might be able to go, but we never quite know what the animal schedule is going to be, so now we've got a foster dog. We will have a couple of boarders next weekend, so it looks like I'm going to be here at home as usual, but I will be excited to meet. You guys next weekend. And beyond that, I'm still putting up a short every day. I go through these little phases where, like, I don't have any ideas. I'm always taking videos, and typically I'll take a video, and then as I'm going back and looking through my videos, I'll think, oh, I can turn that into a short. But sometimes, even though I've got a lot of videos, I can't think of what to do with it. So somehow it just happens. I'll get these little spurts of ideas, and they are performing really, really well. Subscriber count wise, they are really, really helping grow the channel. Let me look. I don't know if I've looked today, like where I am subscriber count wise. I did get up to 2,401 for a little while yesterday, and then it went to 2,399 earlier today. So let me see where I am right now. Still 2,399. And I still don't quite know how that works. How YouTube will, like, someone will subscribe, and then I guess they have to double check it, and that subscribe will disappear for a day or two, and then it shows back up again. So, and I won't see that it's because some new person subscribed. So it must be, there's something about their, I don't know. I'm going to say this like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. The IP address maybe is weird, or whatever activity that person had on YouTube maybe triggered something on the in the YouTube machine, and so they like pull that subscriber back, and then they give it back to me. So, um, and then things like with Shanster Travels, I noticed that. I may ask her if she knows what happened there. She had that huge jump in subscribers, like 300 subscribers from one week to the next, and then they got taken away. If you noticed on her when we did her rundown, she was back down by 300. Still a great number, a great number of subscribers for her. But so I wonder what happened, and she may not know either, because I don't always know what happened. But um, I'm moving in the right direction. I really am having fun with shorts still. When it stops being fun, I'm not going to do it anymore. And most recently, I mentioned, was it last week? Last week when Ian McFadden was on the show, and he had shared with us a picture of some trumpeter swans he took. And I shared with you guys that one of my all-time favorite books as a little girl growing up, and even now, is The Trumpet of the Swan. It's got some sad stuff in it, a lot of lessons to be learned, and it's just great imagery and good storytelling, written by E.B. White, the Charlotte's Web guy. So if that gives you some information, that's the kind of story it is. And I am reading that. I got that idea partly again because Ian talked about trumpeter swans, but also because I saw on Facebook that the American Cancer Society was doing a like read every day in October to help raise money. And so you put up a fundraiser thing on your page, and then you read every day, and I guess you share how much you've read. Well, I thought I might do that at first, but then I thought, I don't want to commit to that. I love to read, and I do try to read every day. I usually have multiple books. Like I'll be reading something on the Kindle. I'll be reading like a actual hardcover book. And then as I come across stuff online or even another thing on my Kindle, I have multiple things I'm reading simultaneously. And I thought, you know what, let's try that. Let's read The Trumpet of the Swan together in October. And so I'm breaking it up. It'll be 5 videos, partly because my voice just can't handle reading aloud, talking so much. These live streams, the 2 hours is like max I feel like I can go. And then my throat is just so dry and scratchy. And so to read these chapters to create the videos to get the the Trumpet of the Swan on the channel, it's taken me just under 2 hours to read it. The videos are coming out between like 40 and 55 minutes or so, depending on how many chapters I read. And I have to go back, obviously, like I'll mess up a part. And so then I have to go back and re-record. So that's why it takes a little longer. Been a long time since I read aloud to anyone, but The Trumpet of the Swan is something I read to my kids. I read to them every night at bedtime without fail. Everything from like this, Trumpet of the Swan, A Wrinkle in Time, one of my favorites, one of their favorites. Shakespeare, I read Othello, I think, to them. Is that right? Whichever one it was. They still remember. They still talk to me about that and how much they remember and enjoy thinking back to when I would read to them every night. And it was among the very few times that all 4 of them really would sit still and leave each other alone and pay attention and just be good kids. They were good kids, but they were active, busy, energetic kids. And so it was nice for me too at bedtime to just have a relaxing, half hour, 45 minutes, however long I could get them to be still before they fell asleep so they could listen to the stories. So check that out. The first installment of The Trumpet of the Swan just went up on Tuesday this week. It's chapters 1 through 4. I just uploaded to be public on Monday next week, chapters 5 through 9. It's about 50 or 55 minutes, I think. And let me know if you like it, because I've long wanted to do some Jenny Linsky on the channel, because I have Brutus, my big black Maine Coon cat. I have a picture of him when he's about 3 months old, and there was a red scarf off of a teddy bear or something here. I think the dogs had chewed up the teddy bear, and I had the little scarf, and Brutus was small enough that I put that little red scarf on him, and he looked like Jenny Linsky. If you don't know who Jenny Linsky is, go look up Jenny Linsky, another of my favorite book series and characters from when I was a little girl. And I thought that would be something fun I might do, have some fun with green screen. That's my goal for that one, is to have him, be the Jenny Linsky character, and have the other cats be members of the cat club, and somehow manage to get them with a green screen behind them so that I can have other scenes. Like I can remember scenes in the story where Jenny and her cat club friends are standing outside the coffee shop or whatever, or they're behind the restaurant waiting for the people to throw out food or whatever, doing cat stuff. So I want to try and make that work. I can see it in my head. I just don't know how to pull it off. But that's kind of what got me started thinking first about reading on the channel. But then when Ian was on the show last week and he showed us those trumpeter swans, I thought, you know what? Let's do that. Let's read a classic children's book, a favorite from my childhood, and see if you guys like it. I enjoy doing it, so they're going to go up on the channel even if nobody listens. And if you want to wait until they're all done so that you can listen straight through, I do have a playlist started that will have all of the videos together in one spot. But obviously there will be 5 episodes, and if I'm getting just one a week put out on the channel, it won't be until November sometime when that last one goes up. Dark Lord Menet says it's been 27 degrees there, 27 Fahrenheit there. Wow. I mean, we will get some cold this winter. We do get cold in the winter, but it'll probably still, I'm expecting the possibility for even still a 90-degree day or two in November. That's what happens here. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's it. Watch for the updates on our little foster dog. This is come here, girl. This is Harley. Come here, Harley. Come here. Can you say hi? This is Harley. Harley boards with us. I wouldn't say frequently, but she's been here multiple times. There's the baby again down there. The baby with the shark teeth. Yeah. Little 3-month-old with puppy teeth. And other than that, everybody here is happy and well, staying busy. And I think that's all I have for you. Thank you for being here today. Again, if you're part of the Rewatch crew, thank you for being part of the Rewatch crew. And as I encourage Kristen, if you have watched any of my videos and you like some of what you see, thank you for checking them out. Please consider joining the channel by subscribing. Again, I'm at 2,399. Get me to the 2,400 and let it hold. That will be exciting to me. And we do have channel memberships available if that's something that you're interested in. Every penny that is earned by the channel goes into the mouths of our dogs and cats and horses and ducks and geese and Yancey the turtle. Let's see if we can let you see her. There she is. See her up there basking on her dock? She loves the new tank. She absolutely loves that new tank. That is one of the best things I feel like we ever did, was buy that tank for her. And it's the size she needs. So I know she's happy and it'll keep her healthy. These turtles can live like 60 years. And she just turned 7. Is that right? She turned 6 or 7 at the end of March this year. So somebody's going to inherit her when I'm gone. Anybody want a turtle? Anybody know somebody that wants a turtle? I'll go ahead and put you on the list. So every penny we earn here literally goes right back just to buy feed for the animals. And I know a lot of people think that those of us with horses, I've had people say to me before, man, y'all must make a lot of money if you've got horses. And I'm thinking, you got that wrong. We have like no money because we have horses. So that's probably the most expensive animal we feed here, primarily because hay is ridiculously expensive. We do have some grazing area for them, but it was so dry this summer that literally nothing was growing. I had to water my garden every day to get any, fruits or vegetables out of it. Hey, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. She's over there growling at the baby just for no reason. Serena. Posey. Posey, what do you have in your mouth? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I got my work cut out for me with this baby here. But I wanted a baby. I wanted a puppy because I just really felt like the other dogs would be, feel less threatened. There wouldn't be competitions for alpha spot, top dog spot, or anything. And there isn't. And they know she's just a baby. So what was I saying? Hay. So hay is absurdly expensive right now. Same reason, because it's been so dry. So like nothing's growing. So imagine we're getting like last year's hay. That's what's still around right now. Hush, 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 hush. So every penny helps. Thank you guys for those of you that are already channel members. And again, thank you for subscribing, because the more we grow, the more our ad revenue potential grows. And that's how YouTube works. So share it. Please give this video a like if you liked today's video. It would mean a lot to me. I know it would mean a lot to Kristen too, because you hit that like button and it'll mean that you enjoyed her time on the show as well. And please check out her channel. You guys check out her channel and let's help her grow together. As always, be safe, be happy, be well, be blessed. I love you guys. I love you guys. I'm trying to think of, like I've worked in offices or had coworkers that were friends and felt like family that I really loved, but I don't do that anymore. I don't have an office to go to anymore. And so you guys have become my family. You guys have become my partners and my coworkers, and I love you for that. I love you for the support you've shown me in the channel. Everyone that watches a video, I love you for that. If you're not a content creator, maybe you don't understand what I mean when I say that, but it means a lot. Let me get you Kristen's link. Yeah, let me get you Kristen's link. Oops. I think I have it in the description of the video. But let me get it for you to put in the chat. Yes, here we go. All right, here comes Kristen's link, or Kirsten's link. All right, see, you can click directly from that link. Obviously, you can't click from the banner that I have on the screen, but you can click from that link right there. Go and watch a couple of videos. Always watch a couple of videos before you subscribe or shortly thereafter, so that YouTube doesn't take away the subscription. Again, I think that's what happens a lot of times when you'll see a big jump in someone's subscriber count. Maybe they had a video or someone shared a video, or there was just really a push somewhere for people to subscribe. So a big batch of people go and subscribe, and then they don't watch any videos, and YouTube watches for that. So when they see, they have ways to know. So when they see that, then they think, okay, wait a minute. Is this legit? Is this a legit subscription? And they will take them away. So just saying, be sure you do it the YouTube way so that it really benefits everybody. As always, too, if you want to be on the show, send me an email. I just stumble upon channels sometimes myself. But there are going to be things out there that you guys know about that I don't know about, where there's great content and a great content creator who just needs to get his or her name out there and introduce himself or herself to a new audience and maybe some new subscribers, so they can share their message with more people and grow their channel. That's what my interviews in part are for. Lately, again, I've shared just a lot of things that I'm passionate about, because I like letting you guys know who I am and what makes me tick and what motivates me. And it's not always about helping them grow their channel, but especially for the smaller channels that offer such quality content for free to people who can benefit from it. I want to help. I want to do my part. People helped me like that when I was getting started, and I want to help people. So it means a lot to me when you're on the show And it means a lot to me when you go and visit the channels of guests that I have on the show. Okay, everybody wins. I've said before, I'll remind you guys again, there's room at the top for all of us. YouTube is not a one person wins it all opportunity. Everyone can succeed. Everyone can, you know, realize their goals and their dreams for their channel. But it takes us working together to make it happen. So every one of you that watches these live streams is a part of that. All of you that like videos and comment on videos and share videos and subscribe to my channel are part of that. So again, thank you for that. As I said before, be safe, be happy, be well, be blessed. I love you. I hope you know why now. And I will see you in the next video. I've got a dog cookie recipe going up tomorrow, so be watching for that. It does have the dogs in it even. I love you guys. Thank you.